Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
It's been 5,000 days since the last New York team has won a championship, and that will continue. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of GTSS, Generic Talking Sports Show. I'm your host, Jason Adams. And, well, the Yankees are eliminated because no team in this city can win a championship. 2013 being the last time the New York Giants won a championship, and no football team's close either. So it really does seem like we're in for a long ride. I don't know where to start. I think we'll start with the Yankees because they're the hot topic. They played the most high leverage game recently. And then we'll get to maybe football and then obviously NHL. But to start off, the Yankee season is over. They lose 3-1 in the ALDS to the Toronto Blue Jays. And they looked garbage doing so. They got blown out twice. Almost got blown out and swept in the third, but a great comeback. Aaron Judge finally had a great playoff moment, just for that to go completely wasted in game 4. So pretty much the playoff choker allegations have not gone away. I don't know what to talk about with this team other than they need to be better. As simple as that. I do not know the free agents of this team, but I know that. And okay, well, let me start off with this. The Blue Jays look like garbage right now against the Seattle Mariners, so it makes the Yankees look even worse, especially the Trey Savage game. Guy went 12, like 6 shutout innings, and you couldn't even score a single. You had 2 hits off him. But looking at the 2026 free agency, specifically for the Yankees, I believe Cody Bellinger is a free agent, but let's look specifically at the Yankees because I've not looked. Bellinger. I think they should keep him. I am a big Bellinger guy. Goldschmidt was good enough. He should make that money. He should be paid, I think, by the Yankees, but they might go somewhere else. Devin Williams is probably going to take a prove-it deal somewhere. I really don't see how he signs back in New York. I know he had a really good stretch down the end of the year, but Devin Williams just had such a bad start that it left such a sour taste in Yankee fans' mouth that you have to get rid of him. And I think, sorry about that. You have to get rid of him. Looking at it, Paul Blackburn, Mets legend, Jonathan Loaizaga. I completely forgot he was a Yankee. I thought he was gone. Trent Grisham, you have to bring him back. He had such a good year. I think you just have to. Tim Hill, I forgot he was a Yankee as well. Ryan Yarbrough, Ahmed Rosario, just a bunch of Luke Weaver is down the way down here. He had a really bad postseason, so he's kind of in this weird mix area, but where do you go from here? What were the issues of this team, and how do you fix the New York Yankees? I simply don't know. I ranted about the Mets last week about how they need to fix everything, pitching, offense, and they've already took steps to that. The Yankees, one, I think they need to fire Aaron Boone. He's been there too long. He saw 1 World Series, lost in 5 games. It wasn't particularly close. I mean, it was close. I'll give the Yankees credit. They could have won game 1. It would have changed the entire trajectory of the series. And they lost that game in part because Aaron Boone tried to outmanage baseball when he should have just left somebody in. But he needs to go. I think a new voice would really help this team. And I know they win 90 games a year. I know they make the playoffs every year, but that is simply not good enough for fans like the greedy Yankee fans. Like the Mets fans want Carlos Mendoza fired after 2 seasons, and he brought them to the NLCS in one of them. Now, I know he had a disaster in the second year, and a year like this would guarantee somebody else get fired, but I'm okay with him keeping his job. I don't think he was entirely the problem, but back to the Yankees. We're not talking about my Mets. What do I think the Yankees do? I think you really need to hope guys like Jason Dominguez and is it Nolan Jones? I don't know his name because he's been in the minors. He's 25 now. The guy has to take the step. They seem to do this thing where they hold on to prospects in the minor league systems as long as they physically can And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Keeping prospects and letting them develop is a good thing. But to leave a guy who was raking, who, by the way, his batting stance is probably the ugliest thing I have ever seen in a baseball batting stance. So I don't see that translating. That is ugly as all can be. But I think what you do is you just have to hope those young guys develop. And the pitching market, Max Fried looked garbage that second half and did not prove anything by doing that, doing the pitching any favors. I believe his second half stretch was it was one of the worst in baseball from what I remember. Um, but yeah, I'm running out of ideas. Who else? I really didn't watch the Yankees. It's just to look at this team and see how far away they are, and see that the Yankees cannot. But they couldn't barely beat the Blue. They could barely beat the Blue Jays all year, and then they get smoked in the playoffs. And it's like, wow, this team was nowhere close to an actual top league. Oh, I thought Jazz Chisholm was a free agent. I completely forgot. I think he is. But yeah, Max Fried had a 2.85 ERA, but 6 ERA, but that doesn't really show the whole story. Because where are his game logs? I believe they're somewhere here. Anyway, all you gotta know is he had a bad postseason, and yeah, 6.75 ERA after being a known playoff choker. Actually, wow, I'm looking at this for the first time. Other than that World Series, he has not had a good postseason ever. Wow, this is the first time I'm learning this. Other than that World Series year, which he did have that really good game, he was not good. He has not been good once in the playoffs. This is actually very shocking to me. And they gave him a 7-year deal. Wow, this might have been a great regular season pitcher. Apparently, I cannot handle the bright lights. And that seems to be the issue with the Yankees. They don't have that bright lights guy. Vladimir Guerrero just had one of the best series I've ever seen by a player. And he torched the Yankees the entire time. And he came back down to earth since he played the Mariners, but I think that's more shows the Yankees' issues than the Blue Jays' issues. The Blue Jays had a guy who stepped up, plain and simple. Vladimir Guerrero, hatred for the Yankees is that simple. The guy has a good class one hater for the Yankees, and it's very shocking. Like he's up there with David Ortiz type hating. I mean, the guy was doing the Yankees lose in the post game after he's in the locker room, and now he's down 2-0 in a series. But to get back to that, the slide in game 3, wow, that's so much hatred in that man's bone for this team. I kind of love it as a Yankee hater. And yeah, that is wow. But other than that, I really have no other ways to talk about the Yankees. They're just kind of a mess. You have to fire Aaron Boone. Um, oh my god, I completely forgot Brian Cashman's still the GM too. Like you have to do something, and one thing is you just have to hope these bad playoff performers actually perform. It's, I mean, I thought they were going to lose in 3 games to the Red Sox, 2 games into the Red Sox, because they had that base loaded chance in the 9th and then didn't score a single run, and that's just wild. Like there is some clear issues with clutch performing here, and hey, they let a guy who was known for his clutch performance in Yankee uniform away, and they should have just paid him, and they're probably in the World Series, in my opinion, this year if they do have Juan Soto. But he's a Met, and I mean, obviously it didn't work out the first year, but hey, calm the brakes. We got 14 more years of it. But yeah, it's as simple as they need the playoff performers to actually the stars to perform in the playoffs. It's bad. And it's plain and simple. Just Judge got to perform. Chisholm, he might not even be here next year. Ben Rice is actually interesting. I want to get into a little Ben Rice talk because he is such an interesting player to me. The analytics the entire year were so good, and that's all Yankees fans were talking about. Oh, wait. Okay. I have to get to the Cam Schlittler situation in a minute. But Ben Rice was such a weird player this year because his analytics were literally off the charts. Like some of the best analytics I've ever seen on a player that had garbage stats. And obviously, advanced analytics don't tell the whole story, but so do regular analytics don't tell the whole story. So you just don't know with this guy. He's eventually going to break out, I think. But who knows? He might not stay a Yankee for long. Guy grew up a Red Sox fan, might be leaving soon. And great way to segment into that, into a guy who also grew up a Boston Red Sox fan, Cam Schlittler. Schlittler. So if you did go online after the Yankees, after I believe it was his pitching blowout against the Blue Jays, he started and you never do this as an athlete. He started replying to Instagram comments, and it's like, dude, you sound pathetic. You're like he like talks tough against against like fucking children, and it's very funny. Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna get taken off for that. That was bad. Ugh. A little bit of a slip. My fault. My fault. My fault. But coming back to that, he's talking trash to these children, and it's crazy to me that the guy thinks he's tough in that situation. He's acting all big and mighty because he's a professional athlete. Dude, shut your mouth. You sound like an idiot. You just lost your team's final game of the season, and you're talking trash on, was it Instagram or Twitter? And then he went on Instagram, or he went on Twitter, changed his profile to like hockey. He's like, oh, it's hockey season now, and changed it to the Bruins profile picture. And it's like, dude, shut up. You never talk like this if you lost a game for your team. But that's really all I have to say about the Yankees. They are just such a mess. And I really, really don't know what they're going to do this offseason. Boone's got to go. They need to hope to God some big free agent signs in the Yankees, which probably will, but they just need a big change up. They need to hopefully have those big guys finally hit big in the playoffs next year. Crazy how we're talking about next year again, like every other year, because 5,000 days since 2013, since the last time New York seen a championship. But I think that is going to be all for my little Yankees stints. We'll come back with hockey talk because I got some words to talk about there.
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, I'm Morgan Beastie from the Ionian, and I hope you're enjoying today's show. Are you looking for the latest scoop on campus news, sports, and more? Check out the Ionian University's very own award-winning student newspaper. We keep you up to date with everything happening on and off campus. Want to know about the big game, the latest campus event? It's all in the Ionian. Join the conversation. Read, write, and get involved. Visit www.theionian.org or pick up a copy around campus. Stay informed, stay connected. Now, back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
Now, it's time for our little longer segment because there's a lot of hockey to talk about when there was only one baseball team to talk about. The NHL season started on the 7th or the 5th, and I did my last show right before the start of the season, and right where we left off, both New York teams suck. One not as bad as the other, but all three New York teams technically suck. The Rangers are, I believe, 1-2. The Islanders are 0-3, and the Buffalo Sabres are 0-3. The only positive in the metropolitan area is the Devils, who are, I believe, 2-1. They might be actually better than that. Real quick, the Devils are 2-1. Yeah, so they are the only team over 500 in the New York metropolitan area. I'm counting even Buffalo into this situation. 0-3, 0-3, 1-2, and 2-1. That, I know it's only 3 games, but I think we break down. When I came on here last time, I said Buffalo would be my hot take to make the playoffs. Yeah, they look like one of the worst teams in the league, and I really don't know how I thought that. I don't understand the Buffalo Sabres. I'm not going to talk about them long because who cares about the Buffalo Sabres? They're the Buffalo Sabres. They're the worst franchise in the NHL. They have to disband, dude. No playoffs in 14 years, probably 15, most likely more than that after, because players like Dahlin, Thompson, hell, even Power might demand a trade. Like, you have so many players who are probably going to be demanding a trade this offseason or in the middle of the season. And what? Josh Norris is out 8-0. I was so high on him just for him to immediately get hurt in like period number 1 of the season. So a little bit of a mess, for the Buffalo Sabres, but I'm not going to talk about them too long because I should have not expected anything different from my good pals in Buffalo, up in the Buffalonians. Also, they're just like, they're Canada's team. Like Buffalo is owned by Canada. Buffalo Bills posted that whole Blue Jays thing, and it's like, shut up. You're not a real New York team. Don't say you are. You can't post that and say you're a real New York team. But moving on to the actual New York teams. And I'm going to start with my favorite team, the New York Islanders, because obviously I know a lot of more people are Ranger fans, probably, but who cares? It's mine. I want to talk about my team because obviously a lot of negatives. Team's 0-3. Sorokin looks like garbage. The defense looks probably horrendous. Looks horrendous. I genuinely one of the worst decors I have ever seen at this rate. But except for one man. I will get to all the positives, but there's one man who has just kept me in the brightest of spirits going into for the rest of the season. And that is Cale Makar prodigy, Matthew Schaefer. The guy looks like a top 15 defenseman right now with how he looks and how he skates and how he plays. And he is like 3 weeks older than me. He's 3 weeks older than me on my favorite team, being the number one defenseman on that team. He has already taken power play, penalty kill minutes, and then has become the number one pairing guy, even though he is still playing with Scott Mayfield. Scott Mayfield has not been a problem. It's been Romanov and D'Angelo, but we'll get to that. I had the privilege of going to the Saturday game and watching Matthew Schaefer score his first career goal, and it was the most greasy goal a defenseman could probably get. And you kind of love to see that because a defenseman getting greasy goals like that, just so hype, so amazing. I absolutely love to see it. But I think there is something so satisfying about that. About just seeing this, it was 4-0 at I think like the 10-minute or like the 8-minute mark of the second period. And I thought, wow, this is gonna be another miserable game because I've been to 2 miserable games in a row at this point. And I thought, wow, I'm just gonna sit here, not have a good time. And then they scored one. It's like, oh, what if this crazy comeback happens? And then they score the second one. And then Matthew Schaefer, and he goes crazy. Excuse me. Matthew Schaefer goes crazy, gets to the stand, and then the Capitals have the absolute guts to call a challenge for hand passing, which it's like, dude, we rolled out the red carpet for Ovechkin, and you have the nerve to do this for our guy, for our hopefully franchise face when we did it for yours. Piss off. Shut up. Like, it is so, I genuinely was losing my mind. I've had a sore throat the entire time, like for like 2 weeks, and I was screaming my mind out. Like, what are we doing? Play the sport. This is not like there is nothing wrong with this. Dude, what the hell are you doing, Capitals? This is so just we let you walk all over us that game. We won that game, but we literally rolled out the red carpet for Ovechkin, and you have just the nerve to blow and challenge this. And then they spend 30 minutes challenging it. And it is just miserable. I am losing my mind. The fan base is losing their mind. Like, what the hell are we doing? And it's just an absolute mess. And then we're 0-2, but okay, it's fine. There's a couple other teams 0-2. Like Tampa Bay was 0-2. All right, maybe it's not so bad. And then we go down 2-0 to the Jets. And then, hey, we get one back. Peugeot, totally gone at the deadline. And then Logan Stanley scores a goal to absolutely deflate the team because of Sorokin softy. And I will get to Sorokin later because I have a lot of talking points about this Islanders team. But Sorokin lets in a softy. The momentum swings right back in the Jets' favor. The Jets get another one. And then Emil Heineman scores. And hey, it's 4-2 going into the third period. Maybe we can come back. And then they shut the game completely down. We can't do anything. We lose 5-2 with an empty netter. And the Islanders start 0-3. And I really just, there's a lot of key talking points. And I'm going to talk about a bunch of them. Matthew Schaefer will be at the end. Maxim Shabanov will also be in this because, wow, guy has looked pretty good. Drouin has also looked good. All the top players have looked very good. And then you get down to the decors and all the players. And I think I have to start with Alex Romanov. They just gave him a 8-year, $6.25 million contract. And he looks like genuine garbage. Genuine garbage. Like, I do not know what to do with this player. And the moment when the contract was signed, I wanted to keep Romanov when he was in RFA, when he was going through the rumors. I wanted to keep him. And I was okay, they signed him. Good. What's the contract? And then it was 8 years, 6.25. And it's like, wow, that is not great for a second pairing at best physical defenseman who barely plays off, who doesn't play great offense and is average defensively. And then it's like, okay, I will give it a little bit of a chance because, hey, we're going to be rebuilding for the first 3 years and the cap is going up. So maybe it'll be like it's only really technically like a 5-year at $6.25 million. So it's not that bad. And then it just right now, it looks really bad. Now, obviously, it looks really good in this department of the McKenna tank, which I'll talk about. But yeah, he has looked completely bad. And I don't even know if it's him or it's his good fellow teammate and line mates, Tony D'Angelo. I was not the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Tony D because he plays all offense, no defense, and he's a defenseman. So really no point. He anchors up a quarterback. He quarterbacks a power play, and he's not that good at it. Like the power play doesn't look. Now the power play actually surprisingly looks good. They don't have any finishers, so they can't score a goal. But like Tony D is one good thing is anchoring a power play and keeping that power play pretty good. He's already lost that duty to an 18-year-old, so he really serves no purpose on this team. And I would really say if I want him gone. Like, I know it's 3 games in, but I want change. I want something to happen to the decor. Specifically, I'd hope Isaiah George comes up soon. I'm a big Isaiah George fan. I don't think he's going to be anything special, but I think he'll be like a second pairing defenseman. And that's a really solid positive. He looked like a solid NHLer when he came up last year. Not offensively, but defensively, he looked like a pretty solid player. And I really am excited to see him keep getting that growth because he's only 21. But I think to just look at that decor, and then Pelican Polak are Pelican Polak. Pellick is trying to be somebody he's not. He pushes for offense when he has no offensive ability anymore. His brain is mush. Like, he had 4 concussions, I think. And it's like, okay, dude, you're kind of washed. Now, the good thing is I think they could trade him, and a lot of teams would accept him because he is a solid player, but he's not that number one shutdown defenseman anymore like he was. Like that Magic 2021 Adam Pellick was. The Pacers going to be paid him $8 million or $6 million for 8 years. But I think there's a lot of things to complain about. But I'm like, Sorokin. Excuse me. I was going to move on to the positives. Sorokin. Okay, 2-1 a game. You're back in it finally. All right, maybe some team can jolt some life into it. Logan Stanley scores. The guy has 1 goal every season. He's had 1 goal for like 7 straight seasons. Sorokin, oh my God, what are you doing? Stop the puck, dude. You are getting paid $8.25 million and you can't stop a beach ball? What are you doing? Like, the guy looks lost, and I get it. The defense sucks, but oh my Lord. Like, that is such a backbreaker, and he does this every year. He lets in softies that just kill the momentum of a team. He got benched in the playoffs, and I think that's completely killed his confidence back in 24. He got benched by a 35-year-old Varlamov, and Varlamov was not bad that year. Varlamov was the better goaltender that year, and he deserved to get those starts, but we're paying you the money to be the number 1 goaltender, and he looks like garbage. And he still looks like garbage. I think his confidence is shot, and if I'm going to be completely honest, I would not be shocked if he's traded soon. Because he does stuff like this. Almost, I gotta learn, man. He does stuff like this, and it is so frustrating to watch him do this every single time, where he lets in a backbreaker after backbreaker, and there's nothing you can do about it because the goaltender can sink or rise your team, and he has 50 saves. He has 49 saves out of 50 shot games, and then he'll do stuff like this, let in a goal for Logan Stanley. And it's such a momentum killer. It's such a backbreaker. I really don't know what you do with this player because you're not going to be good for the next couple of years. I have objectively had to learn that. Now, the good news is the Islanders have a head start to a rebuild that they could have started years ago, but they never did. Like, they could have Frank Nazar right now. They could have Axel Sandin Pellikka. Like, they could have had Sandy Pellikka, and Nazar in this core right now coming up. And it's That's crazy to think about. Like, imagine Pelika, Nazar already in the lineup with Schaefer. Now, obviously, the things could have gone differently if they had these players. They wouldn't have had Horvat. They wouldn't have had Romanov. Like, they would have been rebuilding, and they probably wouldn't have been as bad as they were, and things wouldn't have played the same. They wouldn't have gone. But let's say they do. Let's say somehow you get the first overall pick still. You make the trade with Dobson. You get the 2 first-round picks, and you make the Nelson trade. You get Richie for him, and Yzerman falls to 20 again. Like, let's say everything plays the same, but instead you never make the Horvat trade and you don't make the Romanov trade. You're telling me we'd have Sandin Pelika, Frank Nazar, Callum Ritchie, Cole Yzerman, Victor Eklund, Kayshawn Aitchison, and Matthew Schaefer already in the pipeline when this team is already this bad with a first round pick, with 2 first-round picks coming up in the stacked 2026 draft. One of them probably going to be very high with how this team looks. I mean, we're talking about a top 5 brightest futures in the league. Sandy Pellica looks really good. Frank Nazar looks really, really good. And it is like these two could have been Islanders. But they're not, because Lou Lamoriello has buried us in a hole that Matthew Darche has to somehow get us out of. And I am willing to wait with him because I don't blame him for anything going on right now. He did not, other than the Romanov contract, which looks like it might be disastrous. I cannot blame him for anything other than the deal with Alexander Romanov. But let's get to the positives, because it's only 3 games in. This team could still make the playoffs. Hey, the last time they started 0-3 was the 06-07 season. I believe that was the Pochek season in the shootout to make the playoffs. So there's still time. There's still patience. I don't think this team's going to be good. And I'm very nervous that this season could get very bad. But hey, there's apparently a generational talent in Gavin McKenna who, seeing him in an Islander uniform would literally make my day. I've been talking about this for months. Like, the moment the Islanders won the Schaefer draft, I was like, okay, this team needs to rebuild, suck next year, and Gavin McKenna will be an Islander. And even if he's not, you have guys like Stenberg, Verhoff, Tynan Lawrence, Rubrick, Viggo Bork, Lynn. Like, you have so many good players coming up in this draft that you can just, like, I was expecting this team to be bad. Don't get me wrong. I was expecting this team to be very bad. But to be right now what looks like the McKenna talk bad, that's bad. That's very bad. And with how I think this team's going to be at the deadline, just sell off everyone to get more first-round picks. Like, I could see the Islanders having 4 first-round picks this year in that first round. That makes no sense. I could see them getting like 4 first-round picks for 2026, or maybe like 3 for 2026, and then an extra one for 2027. Like, I think that is entirely possible with how many players they have to sell off these pieces. Peugeot, hell, Lee. I know he's the captain. I love him. He's one of the longest tenured Islanders. He's quietly, I think, the second longest tenured captain. Like, the guy has been here for so long, but I would trade him if you wanted to. If teams call about Paul Mary and he's willing to waive Pollock, Pellick, like, you have so many assets to trade. And I know if I'm getting into trade deadline talks 3 games in the season, you can tell how desperate I am and very sad I am. But yeah, I don't know what to talk about other than selling at the deadline, because this team looks like they're going to be selling at the deadline, and they are going to suck for probably the rest of my time in college. But moving on to some positives, because I really can't deal with the negatives as much as I can. One more thing before I get to the positives. They send Callum Ritchie down to the AHL, which I am not mad about. I think giving him time to really develop in that minor league, in the AHL system, where I think the AHL team will be fixed. I'll probably be finding myself watching a lot of AHL hockey by the end of this year with how the Islanders look. Maybe I'll be going to a couple of games in Bridgeport, but I am willing to 100% wait on Callum Ritchie. He's only 20 years old, turns 21 in January. We have plenty of time with this guy. He is going to be the perfect second line center. I feel like he's a skilled guy with great defense. He's going to hopefully put up 60, 50 points a year, play great two-way defense, and just be the perfect second line center. But moving on to actual positives instead of the whole Callum Ritchie, Matthew Schaefer looks like Cale Makar. Like, dude, the guy looks like a top 15 defenseman. He's a point per game player right now, which is all that matters to me right now in this season. If he stays point per game, wins the Calder, successful season. Like, if the guy wins the Calder, that's a successful season. That's all that matters to every Islander fan. The guy just looks so good. I like seeing him play with my own two eyes is incredible. The Islanders are an actual talking point for one player, yes, but that one player being hopefully the next great defenseman in the NHL. And I am just so amazed by how he looks, how he plays. The guy makes rookie mistakes, but he's 18. He's 3 weeks older than me. I'm going to keep saying that because that's wild. I'm starting to feel like more like a loser. You know? Guy's gonna be making millions one day, and he's playing in the NHL already. While I'm here talking about him in the NHL already, but yeah, the guy looks so good. It's incredible. I'm blown away by how good somebody can look like this. He's played 3 games, three preseason games. He played 17 OHL games. Now, the good news is somebody pointed this out. He doesn't have the like the body tax of he's played so many games in the OHL. He played through the playoffs and he's wasted. He played 17 games. He didn't play. Last game he played was in December before this. The guy's full of energy. Now, playing him 28, 26 minutes a night isn't really going to help keep him stable, but it's not going, I don't think it's going to completely ruin him. Now, do I want him playing 26 minutes a night? No. I really wish the decor was better than they are, but I am not worried if he's playing all 82 games, maybe like 22 minutes a night, 20 minutes a night. Like just stable his minutes out and stop giving him 26 minutes a night. This is not sustainable because he's probably going to suffer another injury, and that's the last thing you want. Like fans would completely check out. But yeah, he looks like Cale Makar Quinn Hughes type situation. Like we might finally have. Like I said this to a couple of my family. I said it to my brother specifically. I think he has a chance to. He is probably the most naturally talented player I have ever seen play for my team. And he might be one of the most naturally, he's probably top 3 naturally talented players to ever play for the Islanders in general. The guy looks incredible. He looks like he's making rookie mistakes. I didn't say this before. He makes rookie mistakes, but he can make up for them. His skating looks generational. Like he is one of the only players I have ever seen like blow by players that easily. Like he's a McDavid type skater with how easily skating fastly he can do. He's like a Makar skater. He just blows by guys. He speeds up he's at max speed. It's incredible to watch. And genuinely, 82 games would have been rough without him. But I think watching Matthew Schaefer play hockey will make 82 games more tolerable. But other positives to talk about, other than obviously my beloved, my darling Matthew Schaefer, is Maxim Shabanov. Maxim Shabanov actually looks like a really solid player. The guy he skates. He could have had 3 goals by now. He's setting up good plays. He just looks like a natural. He looks like he's gifted. He looks like how he would in the KHL. He looks like he would in the NHL, and I feel like he'll be a very good top 6 player. Never have to worry about him. I obviously the size is a little worrisome, but I am not worried about Maxim Shabanov. I think he'll be a very good top 6 skill guy. And yeah, but I mean, there's really no positives I can think of other than Schaefer. And Big Save Dave's gonna probably come in. David Rigg is probably coming in on against the Oilers, so that's exciting. He'll probably give up 6 goals, but hey, he'll make a really big save in the process. But yeah, this team really has no positives right now. Prospect watching, Cole Eisman has, I think, 6 points in 3 college games or 4 college games. Obviously, 5 goals, 1 assist, but he looks good. Eklund hasn't started playing. Aitchison looked really good in his first couple of OHL games, but I believe, did he get hurt? I don't think he did, but he looked very good. And like obviously, prospect watching 3 games into a season is not a great sign, but this is what I expected. But yeah, the prospects look good, and the season's going to be much easier to watch with Matthew Schaefer playing games. So I think we move on to the other New York team in the tri-state area. Or well, there's 2 others, but we'll move on to the other New York team specifically. The Rangers can't score. They've been shut out twice, and they scored 4 goals. There are only 4 goals this season being scored against the Buffalo Sabres. So how much do those goals really count? I think there is something very interesting going on with the Rangers, and I believe I saw I think what's his name has an 8 I think it's an is it no, I don't think it's 886. He had like a 986 save percentage to Sturgeon, and he is 1-2. Incredible. Just absolutely incredible. By the way, HSN has 8 points in 8 games. So he looks very good. And he's on pace for a point per game player, which is for a defenseman. I know Zane Parekh had like 117 points, but I never expected Keishon Anderson to be Zane Parekh. But back to the Rangers. Um, I haven't watched a lot of games. I watched the first game and I checked in a few highlights. This team, the Rangers team, sucks. I don't think there's any other way to put it. The Islanders suck, but the Rangers just suck. Matt Rempe is currently playing on power play 1, and I think that really goes to show how many issues the Rangers have in general. If Matt Rempe, a fourth liner on your team a couple years ago, back on the President's Trophy winning team, is playing on the power play 1, and I think he was playing on the second line, you have serious issues that I don't know how you fix. Like, you're a mess, and this is bad. The team sucks, and I think it's plain and simple. The team sucks. There is nothing you can do to convince me otherwise. Now, what do I think the Rangers are? I think they're a playoff team at best. Bottom 10. Middle of the pack. Yeah, I think they're in what the Islanders were for so many years. Mediocre. Can they make playoffs? Yeah. Will they? Probably not. Can they win a round? No. They'll get dusted by Carolina or Florida or Tampa in 5 games, 6 games, maybe if they're lucky. Like, I remember watching 2021, 2022 as an Islanders fan was miserable because the team sucked. And that's what it feels like that's what's going on for the Rangers right now. They made it to the Eastern Conference Final. They brought the Cup champs to 6 games or 7 games, 6 games, 7 games. But they brought the champions to these great series and then lose. Lost my train of thought, excuse me. They go from making the Eastern Conference Finals, putting up a great fight against these teams, and then all of a sudden it comes crashing down one season later. And you don't want to let that go because, hey, the team had those great runs and it's only been 1 year. 1 year's 1 year. This team might not be good. Like, this team is not good now. The Islanders in 22-23 were a solid team. I think they had like 93 or 94 points, and they finished with the number 1 wild card. They almost missed the playoffs entirely, though. If the Blackhawks don't lose that game, if the Blackhawks don't beat the Penguins, the Islanders, people always keep saying, oh, the Panthers would miss the playoffs, and how different would history be? No, the Islanders would have missed the playoffs that year because the Islanders had to win their last game, and the Penguins had to lose. And I believe the Panthers clinched before the Islanders did. And it would have completely changed everything because who's to say? I believe the Panthers rested guys against the Hurricanes. I remember watching the game because I didn't want to play Boston because Boston was the big scary team and that's the last team you want to play. So I wanted to play Carolina because I feel like we had a better chance against Carolina than Boston. But that's what it feels like for the Rangers right now. They are a team that at best can be 94 points. Hopefully the league is bad. They make the playoffs as the first or second wild card, get absolutely destroyed in the first round, and here we are back in this state where they're picking 21st in the draft, and they're not getting a good prospect, and they are, even if they did get a good prospect, they're just ruining that prospect, which I'll get to because, I mean, wow, light and day difference between the Islanders and the Rangers and how they handle the top prospects, apparently. But I think to look at this team, they're mediocre. I see them. I think they can be a playoff team. I think they'll be competing for a playoff spot. I think they should? They'll probably buy at the deadline. Like, they'll buy at the deadline. They'll ruin their future. They won't be a good team in the long term, and they're most likely staring down what the Islanders were a couple 2 years ago, 1 year ago. They will be bad, and I think my biggest issue is this team just doesn't know how to develop young talent. So who's to say this rebuild won't last 10 times longer than what we're expecting? The Rangers have messed up since 2019 prospects every year. Started with Kako, then Lafreniere, then Othman, then at 2022, I don't think they had a first round pick because they traded it with Tampa. And then 23, they found one of the best picks in the draft. Gabe Pro fell all the way down to like 21st, which wild. Great pickup, great player, and he should be good for the rest of his career. And it's crazy to me. And then they make a big trade for Scott Morrow after trading Keandre Miller. You have young guys. You're taking all these guys in, and you refuse to play them. You send them down to the AHL. You either don't give them the ice time they deserve. Like Kakako, the moment he got out of there in New York, looked like a top 6 player. And hey, why couldn't you do that on the Rangers? Because they don't give him the opportunity. Lafreniere, I believe, is playing top 6 right now, and he's getting second power play minutes. I don't know. He might be getting first with how bad this team is. But they weren't doing that when he was 21 years old and already out of a playoff spot. They were saying, hey, dude, you're going to play maybe second pairing if there's an injury on the power play, and you'll play third line. And you'll develop that way. You're our first overall pick, but we don't care enough we're competing. So your development is not important to us. We just want to win, which, yeah, of course. But no, like last year, I think about like Lafreniere should have been number 1 center, number 1 power play. Like he should have just been given all the stops to go ham. They were out of it. They were done for 20 games left in the season. And then, hey, the college season's up. Gabe Pro's here. Hey, let's call him up. Let's give him third line minutes and maybe second power play time because he's a young guy who deserves to develop. He proved so much in BU. No, we'll put him on the fourth line, no power play, and hopefully develop. And they mess him up. They're going to mess him up. They messed up. They're probably going to mess up Lafreniere this year somehow. And they had such a bright future just for it to come right to where the Islanders are right now, or where they were. And they're obviously in a better spot. They have young guys still. Like the Islanders had nobody. Like the Rangers still have Gabe Perreault, Scott Morrow, Alexis Lafreniere. Like they still have young players who can develop into something, but they're going to mess them up. Like, hey, the bottom 6 sucks. Matt Rempe's playing on power play 1. What are you doing? Gabe Perreault is currently sagging away in the AHL with Scott Morrow. You have nothing to lose. This team isn't good offensively. This team isn't good. This team just isn't good. And you are not doing anything about it. You are not letting these young guys develop. And it drives me insane that they're probably, I mean, it doesn't drive me insane. It makes me very happy. But to see these guys, young, talented forwards, just get careers ruined because of the Rangers' ineptitude to develop talent is incredible and frustrating at the same time. And funny because they're the Rangers and I hate the Rangers. But I really don't know what this team is doing, what their plan is, what they're going to be doing by the end of. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. The Rangers are going to ruin prospects. They're going to suck for years. And I cannot be happier, but I also can't be sadder for the prospects in the wings. And then finally, we have the New Jersey, the other tri-state team, I should say, the New Jersey Devils. The only team I could say positively. They're 2-1. I don't know I believe they lost to the Hurricanes on opening night. But since then, they have beaten the Senators and the Blue Jackets, I believe. They play the Panthers so they beat the Lightning, and then they beat the Blue Jackets. And then they play the Panthers, the Oilers, and the Maple Leafs next. I really have no saying. Luke Hughes looks like a $9 million man right now. He's played like 6 periods, got like 4 or 5 points. So he looks like a very, very good signing. And I didn't hate that signing. I was one of the people who actually liked it. Luke Hughes is a very good player. I don't realize that because he's Luke Hughes, Nepo baby. And they've already got such a good contract with Jack that it's like, okay, overpaying for Luke a little bit right now will be fine because you have the Jack Hughes contract. I have really no great talking points about the Devils because I have just been so focused on the Islanders and Rangers struggles that it's like, yeah, cool. The Devils are going to be good. They should be good. I said they're going to probably be my sleeper cup pick, but I'm not. It's just they need to stay healthy. I think everybody would pick them for a cup chance if they're probably like the 3rd or 4th best odds, but health concerns and injury concerns are such an issue that it makes me worried. And I really, really do hope they can keep this up. Anyway, so we will be moving on to our final and otherwise very short and quick topic. I know MSC department is hosting a women in sports panel on Wednesday, October 22nd from 12:30 to 1:50 at Henry Lecture Hall located in the Penta School of Business. The panel will feature 5 talented individuals in the field of sports media, coming from the brands such as CBS Sports, Lookalike Productions, and USTA. Come see and learn how women are shaping the sports media field and connect with professionals in the field on October 22nd from 12:30 to 1:50 in Henry Lecture Hall. Moving on to our last but not least final topic. It's football in this grand state of New York. And when I brought up the 5,000-day stat of last team to win a championship, the New York Giants are the last team, I believe, in 2013. I keep saying that, but let me just make sure. Last Giants championship. 2012. So it was 2012. Sorry, excuse me. 2012. 2012 was the last time a team was won a championship in this state. Other like the Big Four, not counting the Liberty, or I believe a soccer team won it, but not counting those two, the Big Four. No team has won it. And the Giants, I could talk a little bit more about because I did watch their game more recently than my favorite team, which I can talk about for a while, but actually I can't because there's nothing to talk about. Jackson Dart does look like a very, very good start. Like he looks like he'll be a very good start in the NFL right now. And I have less to say. 7 for 25, 195 yards, a 1 touchdown, very solid plays. He's a very good runner. He like there are Lamar Jackson X plays in here. I really have no like talking points about him because he is a very good player, but I don't watch Giants football because football is a very hard watch for me right now because my football team sucks. But yeah, I've heard a lot about Jackson Dart over the past couple of days and how good he's getting, how good he looks. Like this kid is what kid? He's 4 years older than me. How this guy looks, he's just looks incredible, and I cannot wait to watch him. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to be hate watching because, of course, the Giants get another good quarterback, while my team is stuck with Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor. The Jets had or I believe it was 68 passing yards, or it was negative passing yards. I'm not exactly sure, but that game in I believe was Germany was one of the worst football games I've had the pleasure of watching as a Jets fan, and I've watched a lot. It's not the worst. I still remember that game against the Jaguars back in 23, I believe, when they were still competitive. They were like 7-6 at the time, and it was like, hey, if the Jets can just turn it around against like another average team like us, the Jaguars, they could still make the playoffs. They're not that far out of it. They win 3 games, they have a great shot. They win 2 games, they still have a shot at it. 9-8 is a good enough way to get into the playoffs. I believe it would have been good enough that year if they didn't miss the playoffs. And obviously they were out of it against the Dolphins. And it was like, okay, so then why does it even matter anymore? Let's just not play anybody and not try. And that's the worst game. But this one's up there. And it's hard as a fan to just enjoy a sport when your team gives you no reason to watch the sport. Like, I fell in love with hockey and baseball because the 2 seasons I watched gave me so much joy watching them. I had so much fun. 2014-15 New York Islanders season, they brought the Capitals to 7 games. It was a really fun regular season. I think they were like a 100-point team at the time. Or they might have been a wild card team that year. The next year, they definitely were a 100-point team, but they were a 100-point team at that time. And they brought the Capitals to 7 games. It was a really good series. And then they lost with like 7 minutes left in the third. And it really sucked. But that season got me into hockey. And then 2015-16 really asserted that when they won against the Panthers. They beat the Panthers in the playoffs. They finally won a series. And then they lost in the second round. But like that was, you see so many positives. It gets you hooked. You go to games during those seasons. It gets you also hooked. And it's like, cool. I went to a playoff game that year, and it really gets you hooked when your team is good. And then the same thing with the Mets. I watched 2015 World Series run. I remember asking all these questions about what baseball. I remember going to games the next year. It was really fun. I just enjoyed going to these games with competitive teams. And then there's the Jets. I've been to one game as a Jets fan. And it was, I believe we lost 13-10. And we got that touchdown at the end of the game when the game was already over, and it was just a Hail Mary throw. Like we marched down the field. We were down 13-3. We marched down the field. We get that touchdown. And then it's just, that's the one Jets game I've been to in my life. And it was miserable. It was raining. It was sucky. Zach Wilson sucked. It was 2 weeks after the Aaron Rodgers injury. It was the first game home after the Aaron Rodgers torn Achilles. So that was my first Jets game I've ever been to. And it was miserable. No fun. I genuinely wish I didn't go to the game. That's how bad it was. But you, as a fan, you get so attached with a good team, and it makes you love the sport in general. Like, I fell in love with hockey. I watch every game. I watch as many games as I possibly can, and I have so much fun doing it. I love playing the sport. I love watching the sport. It's my favorite sport in the world. It's one of my favorite passions in the world. And yet, football, I just can't get into. From the rare times I've enjoyed football, it's playoff teams. It's watching good football in the playoffs like that. 2021 was really the first year I started watching football, like as a fan, like a fan of football in general. Like I randomly catch a Jets game here and there, but I never really cared because they sucked. 2021, one of the games, the Bills Chiefs playoff game, one of the most exciting games I've ever watched. And it's like, wow, imagine if the Jets had a game like this in the playoffs where they're having this crazy moment, and it's just, it would be incredible to actually watch my team play. And it's so sad, so annoying, and it's so, like, this is just more of like a rant sesh about how sad it is being a Jets fan and how just deflating it is, because we never get to be a part of that, and it's so hard to watch. Like, I want to fall in love with football, and I do like football a lot. And I did, the one time I did was when it was all the hype. All the Jets were, oh my God, they're going to be good. Aaron Rodgers, But I don't know what to say. I'm so depressed. The Jets suck. My teams all suck. I mean, two of my teams have not won a game yet. The Islanders are 0-3. Jets are 0-6. Both teams look like garbage. Both teams have the best odds currently to have the number 1 overall pick, which is very funny. You go to Tankathon and it's like, wow, how did you pick every bad team, dude? Islanders number 1 overall pick odds. Jets number 1 pick odds. It's just so funny. So funny. But like, I don't know what to do anymore. My teams suck. This sports show is going to be very bad if the teams keep it up how they are. But hopefully next time I'm coming on more positive and more less negativity around the world of my sports teams and just sports in general around the city, because 5,400 days without a championship is bad. And when is that going to change? We're not going to know at least till January. But there's no way the Jets or Giants are winning it, so it's going to be a lot longer than that. So maybe June. But there's no way the Devils or the Rangers and the Islanders are winning it. So hopefully the Devils do, but they really don't count. It's going to be a long time till we see a competitive team. And I don't know when that's going to be. But I think that is going to do it for me. This was a much more depressing talk about it. All the New York teams suck. Why do we have the horrible side of this world? Why can't we just be like California, where they win everything every year? My God, the Dodgers are probably going to win the World Series, and that really pisses me off because it's just so boring. But that is going to do it for me for this episode of GTSS. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all, hopefully, unless I get much more sick like I am now, next time. Goodbye.